I was just like, let me just try and improvise and do it myself first. Yeah, no.
Pour nous, je me suis fait du mal, toi, tu n'en as jamais fait autant. Moi, chaque jour, je prouve, oui, je prouve, oui, je prouve.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl Kay, back for another video. Improvising is the theme of all of this. So for me and my experience, the town I live in is diverse, but when it comes to services like getting your hair braided, crochet braids, twists, locks, whatever, like I almost never see anybody with those sort of styles in my town. Quite honestly, I don't even see people my age, my race, usually one or the other. Like they might be my age, not my race, they might be my race, not my age. So maybe I'm missing something, who knows. But the point is, as far as what I know, there's not really options out here. So it's not like I could run into somebody and be like, hey, where'd you get your hair done? So I had to be one of those people to do some serious research to see what's in my neighborhood. From what I know, all I have is a lot of like African braiding places, and in my experiences, charge an arm and a leg. They don't really like respect your hair and your edges. They're rough. They'll comb through it when it's dry. They'll blow dry, yank edges being pulled. That's not all of them, but that's something I observed with a lot of them. I did go to one time when I went like to French braids, and they did a really great job. I would have gone back for something like that, but I also wanted places that, one, charge fairly. We tried to find out about the pricing. It was too expensive. And two, I want somewhere that offers more than just that, or the typical full head of box braids that you usually get when you come out of an African braiding place. I tried to do some research to see where else I could get my hair done. All I saw was a spot that had more versatile styles like box braids, updos, wig flips, or like straighten, trim, like fresh cuts. I did end up going there to get some box braids. I wanted like a blunt cut look. It was partially my fault because I'm one of those people who be like, hey, like, I want this style, send this picture, and then I might, or maybe this style, sends another picture, and I could see how that might like confuse the hairstyles of what I want. But once I got there, I said to them, like, this is what I want. So she aimed for this style. I think I told her this before meeting up with her, like when I was just messaging her. I think I told her, like, you know, I don't really use heat on my hair like that. I went and I didn't really blow dry it. I just like washed it and let it air dry in some twists and loosed it, and she was like, I can't comb through this, and she was giving me all of all of this going on. I was just like, okay, no need for the attitude. But so then she ended up blow drying it, and that hurt my soul because, like I said, like my hair really cannot tolerate heat. Okay, if I flat iron it, I'm pretty sure, right, it's either I have to do it where it's just hot enough so that it makes sense where you're making it straight, otherwise it's just gonna be a huge frizzy mess. Where it's a certain amount of heat and straight, it's just gonna be dead. Curls are done, it's never coming back. Like there's no reverting from that. Like that's how my hair is. It's like as soon as you apply that flat iron, forget it. Just wait till it goes out so you could cut it off, because it's not gonna revert back. Like it's gonna be like just dead weight. Even if I use heat protectant and all that, it just never looks the same after I use a flat iron like once. I don't want to put my hair at risk. I don't want to experiment with that if I don't have to. I did a lot of cutting on my hair, like a lot. I've done a lot of like fake big chops, and you know, now I'm just trying to work on health. So I'm not trying to revert backwards if I can prevent it. Blow drying, you would think, isn't so bad. She did end up really like using the brush, and when I took everything out, washed it and all that, it was still looking like limp. Like that's why I have to be careful. So the whole point in that, under the topic of improvising again, is being able to have styles like this without having to blow dry it, but we'll get to that. So going back to that specific stylist, there was attitude because I didn't want heat in my hair. She would leave my hair and go do another client's hair and have somebody else come and just blow dry it for me. And I get it, that's how you delegate things because you gotta get things done in a timely manner. But I just feel like I reserved my time slot here. So you shouldn't be going back and forth from me to her and making my time here be longer because now I have to wait for you to get back to me. And yes, you ask somebody else to at least blow dry my hair, But she was like, no disrespect to Spanish people, but she didn't understand because she was giving me that Spanish blowout, like, and I'm here like, whoa, you don't need to do it that intense. Like, I'm not here for a blowout. I'm here to just have it straight enough to be parted so that it can be braided. And she didn't even speak English like that. So it's like, I couldn't fully explain what the issue was. The main lady comes back, somebody else comes to fix the hair, which would take shorter time than mine. So she stops what she's doing with my hair to go to her. And this is what I was saying, like, no, like, I did my time. I came here on time. I've been waiting here while you braid through my hair. Like, stay here and get the job done. Don't go to somebody else just because their task is easier. To top it off, on top of all of that, I put like, I don't really know exactly how much to tip stylists because I don't go to style like salons like that. I put like $5 tip when I was filling out the receipt, and then when I got home I saw it was $15 that was charged, and I'm like, I did not write 15. Don't tell me she went and put a 1 there. Like, that's so great. Like, I didn't even address it. I just let it go. And I just said, you know what, I'm never gonna go back there. I'm like, okay, you know what, I'm the kind of person, like, if I find out that there's a stylist out there that can get the job done, like, get this unique style that I want, do it just right, like, I will travel the distance to go and get it done. I'll pay what I need to pay as long as it's not an arm and a leg. I could pay an arm, but I can't do arm and leg, so we gotta make it fair. So I found a stylist on Style Seat. She was like 2.5 hours from me, and I was like, okay, you know what, improvised. My friend actually lives like 30 minutes from there, so let me go see if I can stay with my friend for a little bit, and then from her place I can go to the hair salon and then, you know, work my way back home. So I did that. It was a whole journey, you know, because technically, yeah, I'm there to see my friend, hang with my friend, and it was a cool time, but my main focus is to get my hair done. So I go, and it's the same thing where I had shown her different pictures of what I wanted, like, hey, if we could do this or we could do this, either it's fine with me. But then when I got there, I told her, I was like, I want the fullness of this picture. I want the length of this picture. Like, I said it, I specified. And the thing is with her, because it's at her house, she didn't have like a mirror for me to see directly in front of me to see like how things are going as they're going. So she had did like the first twist. She showed me the first one that she started with back here. She's like, is this a good size? And I'm like, yeah, that's good. So I'm thinking she's matching that all along my head. There were so many different sizes. Like, one was like hair super huge, one was hair super small, one was hair super huge. It was just all over the place. And I was like, make it make sense. I wanted like a full head of twists going on, where I said like I wanted to basically look like I have curls essentially. It was the most flattest look. Like, it basically was this and twists. And I was like, this is not what I want. It's not what I wanted. And I found all that out when she was done. Like, it didn't occur to me like maybe halfway through, like, hey, can I see the progress? You got a mirror so I could kind of look as time progresses. It didn't really occur to me. I was just trying to be cool about it, you know? And I was actually having high hopes for her. Let me say, not say high hopes, but I had put a good amount of trust in her. Like, okay, I think she got this. I seen the pictures that she's done. I seen her work. No, but no. I went in my car and I was sitting there and I was like, I hate this. Like, no. Because what? It's uneven. There's no reason. I know this part of my hair is not that long. So I'm a little annoyed because it was supposed to be smaller and fuller and extra curls on the end, and it's not it. It's like, you done sat through 2 hours of getting hair done. You're not about to tell her that and then have to get it done all over. You're trying to accept it, you know? That's what I was trying to do. But lesson learned, just turn back around and be like, listen, honestly, this wasn't what I wanted. Like, can we do something about it? Because as soon as I drove back to my friend's place, 30 minutes, and then it marinated, I'm like, I really don't like this. And I message her up and I'm like telling her the situation. She's like, well, you should have told me before you left, because now I'm on my way to this event and that event, so I can't do it right now. And it was just the biggest complication. And she was like, you know, you could come back in a week. And I'm like, but you know that I traveled 2.5 hours to get here, so wouldn't it be better for you to just try and make some time to fix it, because you would have according to you, you were gonna, if I had just turned around while I was right there, you would have made the time to fix it anyway. So what's the difference between me just coming in 30 minutes later for you to do what you were gonna be doing anyway? Like, I don't know, it just wasn't really making sense. Like, I understood her, but also I'm like, I really feel like this is the better option than me trying to come all the way back out here a week from now, especially when I needed to have my hair done by a certain time. It was just too much, too complicated. We didn't see eye to eye. It just, yeah. And y'all, so I just wanted to add to it. I just retwisted it as best as I could and put in new rubber bands. I put in product to redo the curls, make them look cuter, you know, trim the ends so everything could be even on the same level. Like, I really had to finesse that because there was no way. And I was just so grateful that it came out so much better. That's where I was like, you know what, I'm over it. The next time I need a style like this, I'm just gonna try and do it myself. I don't have options where I live. Me going too far doesn't make sense. So I was just like, let me just try and improvise and do it myself first, because if I can learn how to do this stuff myself, that saves me gas, saves me travel, that saves me frustration. In that way, at least, saves me time, saves me money. So improvise, right? The very first style I tried by myself since then was a Fulani front, and it was inspired by Kimberly Cherrell on Instagram. It was for my birthday, so I had just gotten clip-ins. So I did the clip-ins, they came out bomb. The only difference is she knows how to braid, I don't. I just did flat twists instead. Improvise, and you couldn't even really tell. Like, either way, it still looked very close. So I was really like impressed that I pulled that off. I was really grateful that I pulled that off. For my first time doing something like that, like parting took the most work because you want to make sure you part a certain way, and I'm learning that you have to do it a certain way so it doesn't look like the weirdest gap. And yes, trying to twist, because that's the next thing. I actually twist a certain way. So if I'm twisting this side of my head, the twists are going in this direction, but then when I'm twisting this side, they're going this way. So if you look closely, they're going in different directions. Improvise, just make it work, okay? It still look good. You know, I am praying that I'll get a chance to practice more and more where my twists are symmetrical, and hopefully I can actually braid. Next style I tried was the Fulani braid style with box braids, and that was inspired by BraidsByJazz. I was like, okay, it looked doable. We try it. First step, let's see if we can braid for this hairstyle. It wasn't working out. The thing is, I needed the style to last for a while. I'm like, okay, I have to learn how to put extensions in so that it can last. These are different little skills that you need to know. Watching a YouTuber saying about how she too learned how to do hair for herself, and she was like, it's a life skill. Like, it really is. That's something you need to be able to do, especially if you're a natural hair person. Natural hair, for me at least, it changes by the hour. So you need to be able to find styles that brings you past a certain amount of time, certain amount of hours, certain amount of days, certain amount of weeks, so that your life can be easier. I'm like, okay, life skill number 1, knowing how to corn braid. Life skill number 2, knowing how to add in hair. Life skill number 3, knowing how to corn braid and add in hair. I didn't do none of those. I was trying everything under the sun. Like, when I tell you that style took me 5 days, I'm not even kidding. I tried to just corn braid first and then add the hair in. I was like, this is too frustrating. The braid was so small, and like trying to add in, it was just a mess. Those improvisations didn't work, so then I tried my good old flat twist. I was like, okay, we're gonna flat twist because you can't really tell anyway. So you're gonna flat twist and then add the hair. Because the hair was so small again, it was hard to like go from twist to braid and add in hair to make it look like the same size. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're twisting with your natural hair and the part is already small, and then you're adding in some hair, it's gonna either be a super small braid, where it's gonna look awkward, where it's like you added in right at a point where now it just goes from skinny to big and it doesn't make sense. There's a lot of like math and science going on. Just ended up flat twisting and adding extensions right at the root, braiding it down, boom. So from afar it looked like my scalp was corn braided, and then I had the braids to show. Cool. My mom did help me do like the one braid in the middle. I wanted it to last and not frizz, and knowing like the middle will most likely frizz the fastest, it was best to have it as a braid, so she helped me do the braid. But I was trying to just get everything else done for myself. And then remembering too that I twist in different directions depending on the side of my head. So some twists on this side matched this side, and some of them were just going their own wave, and it was fine. Improvise. The way Jazz had done the style, she did like a X. I was thinking about doing it as a twist, like twist and then an X. I was like, you know what, it's too complicated. Let's just do straight backs. I was already in like day 3 at this point. Like when I tell you I did this whole side of my head and this side didn't get done until maybe like 2 days later. Yeah, I had to redo some on this side. Like no, I was fed. So I just improvised again and just did straight back. Pulled it off, okay? Fulani styles come in different ways. I just used that picture as inspiration and I made it work in my own way. That's that on that. So, okay, cool. The front is finally done. Amen, hallelujah. Now, the back, she just did regular box braids and the ends were with beads. I wanted curly ends. I was like, but I don't want to spend so much time braiding because I know doing actual box braids will take forever. So I was like, let me try crochet braids. From my understanding, it's faster, it's easier. Literally just crochet that already done braid right onto your scalp. Boom, braid done. I looked up a whole bunch of videos on YouTube talking about like illusion, so it looks like it's box braids and you can't tell that it's just cornrowed. Some YouTubers, they kind of like part, then put a rubber band, then drag that piece, part, do another rubber band, and work their way down. So you have the part to look like box braids, but then they're really all connecting. Then you have some that do a braid all around, like flat braid all the way around, and then you sew. Like so many different ways to do it, and I just couldn't figure out how to do it because my hair does have like some length to it. I tried the illusion thing, and then I had so many ends revealed because I did it like straight down with rubber bands. I parted it as box braids, put rubber bands in, and then I just twisted and connected them. And it was like 1, 2, 3, 4. I was like, okay, what do I do with my ends? I have these big 4 or 5 big braids just hanging here, and I need them like this length or smaller. How's that gonna work? Because the braid was really like this big. Improvise. First, I tried to like sew the ends like you would do with a sewing, like sew it onto my scalp and everything, and then just literally spent hours then putting the crochet braids in like in the box spaces, but then all over the place because it was still looking crazy. It just looked like the biggest lump in my head because my hair, like I sewed it flat, but it's still, those ends were still so big and lumpy, it just wasn't gonna work. So thank God an idea just came over me because I never seen any other YouTubers do this. But what I did was take that end, say it was like a big braid. If it was a big braid like this, as a single braid this size, I split it into 2, and then I made it into a smaller braid, and this went to a smaller braid. But with that, I added in here. So from the very beginning, I just added in the braid in here and braided it all the way down. Tied my knot on the end. That's one. And braid the next one. Boom. 2 braids, the same size as all the other braids in my head. Basically everything, just to clarify, hair was parted as box braids. Put rubber bands in those spots. Then I twisted them down as if I'm cornrowing for like 5 columns. Then I had those braids left in the end, split those braids up and added braiding here for that part, braid here for that part. And then I had basically a whole bottom layer where it was my hair but with some braiding here. And I was like, this makes sense because it's just gonna blend at the bottom as long as it's the same size. It has curls, they're about the same color, like boom. Improvise. So then, because now my hair is flat, I was able to then just crochet all those other braids right in. And there's videos that say like just crochet the braid right in the middle of the parted box. And the thing with the illusion is like a lot of stylists or YouTubers would only part boxes like for the front and the back. So if you put your hair up, it looks like it, or even on the side, just so that those parts look like it's actually box braids. But I had just did parts all throughout my head because I'm like, I I'm OCD like that. I would rather actually look the part all throughout my head. I just put the crochet braids in all those boxes and then filled it in some more where I could. One thing that I learned though is don't do rubber bands. And having the rubber bands, what happened was I would put a crochet braid like right here and the rubber band would be showing right under it and it would look kind of wonky. Or you'll see the connecting piece of like this braid to this braid. So you'll see that twist that I did and I would put a crochet braid on top. But then because the rubber band was like right underneath, it just didn't look equally spaced. It looked weird. So I had to just improvise. Put a whole bunch of the crochet braids kind of like all over. But of course, you know, enough even braids on this side and this side so that it looked okay. And somehow, thank God, I pulled it off. The only issue I really had throughout my time with it in my head was that the twist or like the knot part of the crochet braid would loosen. I would find myself pulling it tight a lot. You know, I'd rather not have to think about it once it's done. But otherwise, it pulled off pretty great. It just frizzed really quickly because again, it was twisted and not braided. That was the next thing too. I even tried to cord twist with the braiding hair. No, that thing was like looping right out of my head. And that's why I ended up just twisting my actual hair and then adding the braiding hair. Improvised on a lot. Improvised on cord braiding. Replaced that for cord twist. Adding in here for the first time, and that was a lot of trial and error to know like the amount you need and the sizing and all that, and to keep it consistent. The illusion for the crochet braids, adding crochet braids, and that was another thing in itself. When I first tried to add the crochet braids, the needle got stuck in my hair, and then because I had the rubber band, I could not get the needle out. Like I spent a good 30 minutes trying to get this needle out of my head. It was right here. That's why I'm still scarred. I remember where it was. It was right here, stuck. Could not get it out. I was so panicky. Like at first I was trying to keep my cool, but because it was like almost 30 minutes, I couldn't get it out. I'm like, don't tell me I have to cut my hair strands to get this thing out. I ended up like cutting the rubber band and it was still kind of stuck, but thank God I somehow got it out. But man, listen, so that was scary. It was my first time doing crochet braids and the needle got stuck because you have to hold the needle a certain way. You have to hold the flask that closes. You have to hold it open and keep your finger on it so it doesn't get tangled in your strands before it should. Yeah, life skill, okay. Definitely a lot of improvising with that whole entire style, but I pulled it off and I'm grateful. I would try it again. Hopefully by that time I'll have more skills under my belt. Then this style was the next one that I did. It's my attempt at knotless box braids, but I feel like I really pulled it off, like for real. So with this, what took the longest amount of time was the parting. The method that I saw that worked best on YouTube was crocheting the hair. So that's another story in itself. Okay, y'all, so I did not record an outro for this one. I kind of just went on to start speaking about the next hairstyle, but I know this video is already pretty long. If you made it to the end, I am grateful to you. I appreciate you, for sticking it through. I hope that you found the information I shared helpful in the sense of, if you're a beginner, you know that you are not alone. Or if you picked up on any little tips from my struggles and what I learned to overcome them, that sort of thing. But I am open to showing the rest of how I did the jumbo box braids. So let me know in the comments if you're interested. Otherwise, thanks for watching.